Hey guys, Adam here. So I told you I was going to do a review on the Galaxy A10E, so let's get started. So, just letting you know, I'm actually voiceovering this, so, yeah. There might be some errors or something like that, but, yeah, so this phone was released in 2019, and so because of the A10 being so successful, they released the A10E, which was the same thing except with a little bit worse battery life, but the exact same amount of specs and a little bit of a worse camera. So let's talk about the performance first. Actually, no, let's talk about the design. So the design of this phone is actually kind of modern. You can see on the front, it's actually, it looks pretty modern. 81% screen to body ratio, and so everything looks pretty new. Like the notch and the water drop notch and everything. And so it just kind of feels like a modern phone because it was released in 2019. You can see there's a little bit bezel at the bottom, but it's not like that bad. And yeah, it's not really that big of a problem. And yeah, so now let's talk about the specs. So the specs on here is it's really bad for 2019. It's 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage, and an Exynos 7884. You could see scrolling around apps and stuff like that is really bad. It's not good. RAM management is really bad, and yeah, it's just really bad performing phone overall because, you know, phones like the OnePlus 7 Pro have much better specs, like, you know, like 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. So this is definitely pretty slow going around the UI and doing anything like that. So now let's talk about the camera. The camera on here is not bad, but it's not good. I'm gonna talk about first about the back camera. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you the front camera. On the front camera, here's a 5 megapixel camera, and you can see from that photo over there, it's definitely not great. So now let's look at the back-facing camera. The back-facing camera is okay. It's 8 megapixels. It's definitely not as good as like the OnePlus 7 Pro or any of those kind of cameras, like the Galaxy Note 10, the iPhone 11. But it will do the job. It can do 1080p at 30 FPS, so not too bad. And you can see from the photos, it's pretty clear and it blurs out the background, which is kind of cool. Something that you do get on modern smartphones. And you can see from the pictures, it's not too bad, you know, it's pretty usable, and I never really have a problem with them. I mean, it's like a $79 phone, so what do you expect? Anyway, some other things that I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about the battery life. Now, battery life is pretty good. We have a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, and so you can actually get better battery than the OnePlus 7 Pro, I think, in my opinion. What I've noticed, just because of the display, which I'm going to talk about right now. Display is okay. It's an LCD display. It's actually pretty bright. It's almost as bright as OnePlus 7 Pro. No joke. And it's a 720p display, so it's definitely not great. It's not that crisp. And it gets to about 284 pixels per inch, I believe. So that's not that bad. So, yeah. You can see also, that performance, and all this stuff, for the price, isn't that bad. Like, seriously, this is a pretty good phone for your value. And you can see, running a game here isn't too bad. I'm playing Temple Run right now. You can see it's running at a full 60 FPS, at least. And it's pretty smooth, and games like that will run fine. You'll see a little bit of stutter and other things. It's just that, like, really big apps, like, yeah, Alto's Adventure, here's an example. It takes forever to load. We're just gonna have to wait a super long time, yeah. So, I actually had to cut out that part, by the way. But you can see after it's loading, it's not that bad. There's definitely some stutters at the beginning. But eventually it runs at, like, 45 FPS, 50 FPS, which isn't that great, but it's still playable, which is pretty good. And you can see it's not that bad. So, how is this phone in general? Well, this phone is pretty great. I would recommend this phone. If you are switching from like a flip phone or a really old phone, then I would definitely recommend this phone. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.